Bob, I think one of the things that many of our congregants would not be aware of
Yes.
is large setting, small setting. From the pulpit, you can see almost everything in the room. The things that I have witnessed from the pulpit and tried to preach past, I will not say publicly here. However, to our viewers, those who are listening online, we would love to have you comment what it is you've seen from the pulpit as you feel comfortable. And while you're at it, hit like, hit share, hit the subscribe button for us, and tell your friends about this podcast.
Please, whatever you post, know other people are going to see it and read it. And I'd really like to not get fired because of some random inappropriate thing somebody posts on
I would
our
love to read some of the comments online.
Oh, it would be spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also email us at preachingcenter@evangel.edu.
And we'll curate those then and keep ourselves from getting fired.
So my question is, young pastors struggle. I struggled early on because you see the unspeakable things, right? What's the advice? How do you preach past? How do you keep going in the word past that moment of chaos that honestly most of the congregation is entirely unaware of? I almost shared a story.
I've got many.
Good. Yeah, I don't want to get started. I will say things.
I will not be able to fight the urge to start telling stories. Some of them are going to come out here. I just want you to know that. Now, before I answer that, let me ask you this. Were there things that would throw you off? No matter how many times it happened to you, it would throw you off. Because I have a couple things. One particular, like I can share a couple stories, but the thing, and this might seem minor, because the stories I'll tell you, man, I could just keep on preaching. But this one gets me. If there are people chuckling and laughing, and I have no idea why,
like a non sequitur,
I am terrified. Like, what did I do? What happened?
Your fly's down.
Is my fly down?
Sure.
They're laughing at me, and I don't know why. And that will throw me off.
Interesting. So next time, again, to our listeners, if you're in a congregation, Dr. Eby is preaching.
What is wrong with you?
Just chuckle.
Who made you
with
like
no
this?
context? Just chuckle.
No. What is wrong with you?
Extra points if you point.
That I would have to stop if they started laughing at me and pointing at me.
In two congregations,
yes,
I had a couple of individuals who would clip their fingernails.
And
that clip. And I got to tell you, well, in fact, one of the stories that I almost couldn't preach past, my wife would have said, I couldn't hide it in my face anymore, how disgusted I was at what was happening.
You should be disgusted by that.
And that would alert the congregation that something was happening, and they would look around. And I tried not to do that.
But they probably, that one people already knew because they could hear it too.
It gets worse. I could tell you a story. Anyway, how do you preach past? How do you preach past the moment?
Well, I don't know that there's...
because I think one of the things that has to be avoided is, unless it's really an incredible moment, you cannot point someone out in the congregation.
Yeah.
You don't want to publicly shame someone.
Now, I would say...
Unless they're laughing at you and pointing, I suppose.
Then I will publicly shame them. No, for example, I one time was preaching. A senior citizen in our church, probably in his early 70s, sitting next to his wife, and he lost consciousness, right? And I'm watching this. The rest of they sat near the back. Nobody else in the congregation was really aware, but I saw it coming across her face. She was convinced her husband just died.
Wow.
It ended up that he didn't, but we didn't know. Sure. And so like that one, there's just no way to not. You're gonna take over the service.
Yeah.
And we had to call 911. We had to get people out. I directed medical professionals in the congregation to
Dr. Eby,
help.
Saving lives from the pulpit.
You know, I do like to say now, you know, I am a doctor and I'm here to help. So
I'm well aware.
Unfortunately, the best I can do is like if they have a problem with their Christology, I can work on that. But so like that's a whole different thing. Oh, there is Christological errors. There are no doubt circumstances that you can't push through, nor should you push through.
That's a great example.
Now, that being said, one of the last ones that happened while I was still in pastoral ministry took place. I was preaching, sanctuary. We used dim lights. The lights were dimmed. And somebody came in a hoodie. covering, like pulled way down low and kind of skulking through the back of the sanctuary. And again, I wouldn't normally be, but it was getting very unnerving. And I found it incredibly distracting.
Well, and you lived in a southwest suburb of a major metropolitan area.
You know, and in this day and age, you don't know what's coming in your sanctuary.
Absolutely.
And I didn't recognize the guy, and it was very alarming. It ended up being just a member of the congregation who, I don't know what he was thinking, but people began to notice, and people were getting very anxious. And now, I realized he took the hood off. Somebody in the congregation went to him and said, "What are you doing?" And he pulled the hood off, and I realized who it was. So then I was able to go forward.
Will you tell us the name so we can all
No,
realize who it is?
I will not. But the thing for me, I don't know that I've got a great answer.
Okay.
Because it's so situational, and if it's just, I'm not going to embarrass a person, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, the person clipping their toenails. I know I took it up a notch. Clipping their toenails. Don't tell me that happened.
Yeah. Let's just go on.
The person doing that, now, frankly, they deserve to be a little embarrassed by that, because that's just total lack of all common sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's publicly appropriate.
Probably not the first time.
Yeah.
And maybe not the second time. Come the third time, if I've talked to them privately, can we do grooming and personal hygiene in settings other than the sanctuary during the sermon?
And so I think that's an important point, right? There are things that are going to happen, and afterwards, you don't have to address it in the moment.
No.
You need to go past it. But it is appropriate for a pastor. Pastoral care demands, I think, at times that you address some of those things privately, appropriately.
Yeah. You got to have that conversation like that. Now,
because it can disrupt multiple people.
Yeah. And there's other things that may be less disrupt, like that people are hearing.
Yeah.
And getting grossed out. And so you're going to have to deal with that one. Others, you may be the only one that sees it, or maybe one or two people, and it's not publicly distracting. You're just going to get through it, right?
Yeah.
You just got to stay. You know what? Simple, practical thing. Don't look that way.
Right.
Look the other direction, you know? And in that case, you may not necessarily address it. If it was just a distraction, but it's not malicious, it's not intentional, and it's not off-putting to everybody else and not disruptive, I might just let it go. But if it's any of those other things, I'm going to have a conversation privately, and probably multiple times privately.
Yeah.
That's just me. There may come a point where I have to publicly address it. And boy, I hate to do that.
Yeah.
And that is for me, a worst case scenario and a last effort.
I think of when I was a kid growing up, right? It wasn't uncommon to hear preachers kind of berate a mother who had a crying baby.
No, I would never do that.
And I remember a time when I was preaching, and we had, the congregation was older at that time. We hadn't seen an influx of younger families, and we had a new family visiting us. And they had a couple of small children, and they didn't want them in the nursery. And the baby started bawling. And I'll tell you what, I can preach past almost anything.
I can get through. Yeah.
And the mom got embarrassed, I think, by some people sitting around her. She stood up and I said, you don't have to leave. That is not so much of a distraction. That is a sound of life that this congregation has been missing for several years. And I unexpectedly got a standing ovation from the congregation inviting this woman to stay. A few years later, that family served on my board.
Yeah.
They were engaged in the church, and it was a moment that helped the whole congregation, and it set a tone for the church that we were welcoming young families. And I could have berated, because people were being distracted.
Yeah.
But there was a value to that, and I can preach past that.
I can get through that. And sometimes that's just what we're called to do.
Yeah.
To preach
public
past
shaming, probably not a great idea.
Oh, no. The only time I would ever publicly shame, to start with, is if it was flagrant, intentional
disruption,
malice-filled, trying to disrupt, intentional. you're not taking over my service.
Yeah.
You're not taking over the service. For me as a preacher, I had multiple tracks of things going through my head
all the time
simultaneously. Yep. And I think that would shock the average non-preacher.
That's we should talk about that actually.
You just,
Yeah.
I've got the sermon.
On 3 different levels all the time.
But I've also got the what's going on in the room. I've also evaluating as I'm going through. I mean, there's so many tracks going on. And the secret is to not let the track of what's going on in this room overwrite and destroy the message from the Lord that day. And so sometimes it's just a force of the will. Sometimes it's just practice. The longer you do it, you just get to the point where you figure out. And I know, like I said, I know my own traps. I know people laughing when I don't know why they're laughing. And I just have to tell myself, stop it, pull yourself together.
So you're choosing to silence that voice.
Yeah, I turn that track off as much as I can. But that's really challenging. Can I tell you? Can I conclude it on this?
Please.
First sermon I ever preached. I was 16 years old. I lived in northern Indiana. A woman pastor at Harvest Time Assembly of God in Indianapolis, Indiana, asked me to come and preach for National Youth Sunday, which was in October. And I went and preached, and I started preaching, and about halfway through my sermon, there's a teenage couple making out on the back row while I was preaching. And so here's how 16-year-old Bob dealt with that.
Oh, no.
I didn't call him out directly, but I threw in an application point about lust and self-control. 100%. That's what I did.
Look at you.
I just wanted to encourage
pivoting.
I just wanted to bring a word, timely word.
I think the big takeaway is it's going to happen.
Yep.
You got to just roll with it most of the time.
And be gracious to people.
And I think sharing these funny stories help all of us to know you're not alone. We've seen it. Get through it. You're going to make it.
I would love people to share if they've got a couple stories.
I would actually love to read the comments.
I would love to hear that.
Thanks.